Okay, so I'm taking a break from comics for at least a month, so that way then I can focus on the wrestling ones again. So one of the big ones that's a month throughout, the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. On one side, on the other side, the Loose Cannon, Flyin, Brian Pillman. Don't know who Brian Pillman is? His run in the WWF was very much cut short because of a heart condition. So he's one of those people where when they talk about wrestlers who died young, he's there. And he was a fantastic talent. Was really great in the tag team with stunning Steve Austin. The last part sounds familiar. The Steve Austin. Yes, back when they were the Hollywood Blondes, yes, Steve Austin had blonde hair. Not a lot of it, but he had blonde hair. He was a fantastic technical wrestler. I know, if you haven't watched old school WCW, I'm probably just blowing your mind right now. But I think Austin, that awesome brawler who just did middle fingers and punch kick stunner, yes, he was a great technical wrestler. Hence, when he was brought over, he was called the Ringmaster. Because he was a great ringmaster. He was a technical hand. He was paired up with bleached blonde, curly hair, chiseled body, pretty much American luchador, Brian effin' Pillman. That's what he called himself in his ECW time. Yeah, his time in ECW was awesome. Even though he was pretty much injured, Brian Pillman had this fantastic way of doing a great job while being in a wheelchair. That's here on one side. Other side, you have the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. If you're watching this video, you probably watch the E currently, you know Dean Ambrose was the talker of the Shield. And ironically, if he had a much more marketable style and look, he would be printing money right now for the E. But instead, he is the anti-hero. He is WWE's Deadpool right now. Yeah, but he is Deadpool. Now, I do these fights differently because I can't do energy projection. They're not shooting lasers. So I do strength, speed, endurance, toughness, striking. How well I've it came to actually, the base brawling moves. Normally I would do grappling and submissions, but I got a brawler and a high flyer. Neither one of these guys were really, really, truly known for being submission experts, or having a lot of grappling. You probably think this is going to work against Pillman since he was trained by Stu Hart, but the majority of his wrestling at that time, he was pretty much the high flyer of the tag team. And a lot of the time that's what he was spent doing. So he was primarily known, that's why it's called Flyin Brian Pillman. He's primarily known for his flying abilities. So we're going to remove grappling and submissions. Since neither of these guys are really known for, high quality suplexes or power bombs or things of that nature, or defeating their opponents with, clover leaves. So they have high flying. And then we get into a little more unique section, where it's over with the crowd, ring psychology, and mic work. So it's 9 things in total. If it's 5 to 4, a person with 5 more likely is going to be the person who takes it. Strength. If you look at Dean Ambrose, he's not super ripped, super jacked. He doesn't really do a lot of more powerful moves. Brian Pillman was like a mini Adonis. Guy was in ridiculous shape, just chiseled by the gods without a flaw. Speed. Brian Pillman was ridiculously fast. He was a true American luchador. Endurance. I get into Brian Pillman. During the time when he wrestled, predominantly we're talking late 80s, early 90s, you tend to get longer matches. For a long time, WCW, before the rise of the NWO, was known as a much more pure wrestling organization. So we saw a lot longer matches, much longer than we kind of see currently now in the E. Dean Ambrose really hasn't had any tremendously long matches, where Brian Pillman actually had quite a few of them. Toughness. I'm giving this one to Dean Ambrose. This is a combination of both his surviving CZW, which is the crazy stuff. I mean, it makes ECW look almost like PG wrestling. Plus, currently he's gone through a lot of different tables. And during Pillman's time, wasn't that much in the way of tables matches. You still had some crazy cage matches. I want to say Pillman was the guy who almost got killed by Sid when Sid tried to do a power bomb, not knowing that there was a cage right above his head. So he pretty much drove him headfirst into a cage, and then gave him a power bomb reminiscent to Kevin Nash in The Big Show. At that time, it's called the Giant. Striking. You know, Dean Ambrose does a better job when it comes to overall striking. A lot of this has to do with as the company has, well, wrestling has evolved more, it's picked up more striking from MMA. And plus, Ambrose is pretty much a brawler. Skipping, grappling, and submissions because both guys really aren't known for that. High flying. This is Pillman. That's why it's called Flyin, Brian. And just an amazing. He used to do some sick high crossbody, springboard lariats. Really, really gifted athlete. Over with the crowd. This is going to be kind of a hard one. In WCW, Pillman was booked okay to poor. He was ridiculously over in ECW, but everyone was over in ECW. And his time in WWF was cut short. He did a good job, but it's not like when he came down, the crowd really got on their feet. So he was always kind of booked inconsistently. Where Ambrose, very much over with the crowd. Especially now, he's at a very, very super high height in popularity. Probably because of his anti-hero persona. Ring psychology. I went back and forth with this one a lot. Loose cannon Brian Pillman played the crazy man beautifully. Problem, he was injured most of the time, so they really got to do lots of in-ring work. And the storyline that he did do, where Austin broke into his house and he had a gun and he shot at Austin, didn't really quite work. Where with Ambrose, given the way he's developed his character, he has really, really solid ring psychology. He goes in there like a madman. You know you're wrestling a madman. The person he's going against, you know they're fighting a madman. So they're all tied up. Now it comes down to overall quality of mic work. Brian Pillman's promo that he did with a pencil is a beautiful promo. But it's very, very smarky. If you don't know why he's wrestling a pencil and calling it the Booker Man, if you don't know the background for it, it makes no sense. If you know the background for it, it's a beautiful promo. Beautiful promo. And I had to compare that to what Ambrose was doing consistently. Ambrose, with the exception of the time someone else wrote his dialogue and he attacked a mannequin looking like Seth Rollins, has had some ridiculously well-crafted mic work. He is very good with the mic, from the way he's holding it, from his overall mannerisms. And Pillman, this is a sad, WCW, he didn't get a lot of time to talk. In ECW, Heyman had to figure it out. You're pissed off? Yeah, here's a mic. Just go, here's a mic. How did CM Punk get over? Vince kind of went, you know, Punk, you seem pissed. Have a mic. When AJ did her pipe bomb, AJ, you seem pissed. Here, have a live mic. You got 5 minutes. Just talk. And that raw emotion carries over. And then we get picked up, moved back to WCW, was pseudo-buried, went back to ECW, was pretty much injured, went to WWF, was only there for a little over a year before he died. He never really got to fully develop that character, because he had the loose cannon that came from ECW was gold. But the injury kind of hurt him. He was also paired up with Bret Hart when Hart was going heel to try to help really give Hart some more heat, some more momentum, some more heelness. But he didn't get as much of a chance to shine, and then his life was cut short. So I have to give the last part for mic work to Ambrose. So if these two guys were to go ahead in the ring, all of the physical attributes, Pillman's got it. But when it comes down to how the crowd's going to connect, how it's going to be booked, which is pretty much your last three, over with the crowd, ring psychology, and mic work, those really are the main things that end up making you go over in a match. The physical skills are needed to have the match make sense. The psychological skills are needed to have the feud work, to have the match progression work, and that's what actually wins the matches. I know that sounds horrible. People would prefer the best athlete were to become the person to become victorious. But it's kind of the way it works in professional wrestling. You know, you're going to see guys who are great athletes who are going to win matches. However, it's that person that you know that if you make the t-shirt's going to sell well. It has a little bit more mainstream appeal. That you can do a little bit more from a character perspective, more from a charisma perspective. And if Pillman would have survived to the year 2000, Pillman would absolutely smoke Ambrose. But by the time Pillman really started hitting that stride where he really started going, that's when his life was tragically cut short. So it does seem kind of sad that the reason why he's going to lose is because of a heart condition that he really couldn't do anything about.